Welcome. My name is Matt Weimer, and this is the website that I've created for this class. The class that I have this for is called Global US 2. So a lot of high schools in Ohio, they have a world history class and a American history class. And when I came to this current school that I teach at, we really sat down, looked at the standards, and kind of found ourselves doubling up on a lot of topics. So when we would study World War I, the freshmen would look at it from a world perspective, and then as sophomores, we would look at the same event from the American perspective. So instead of doing that twice, we basically decided to teach the entire war to our freshmen. So instead of it kind of being more based on world versus American, we've made it more chronological. So our freshmen will take Global US 1, which covers from the Enlightenment period all the way till the rise of fascism, basically puts us on the verge of World War II. We leave them on that nice cliffhanger all summer. When they come back in Global 2, they take World War II all the way to current time. So like the last thing that we covered this year was the election of Donald Trump, and right before we went on break, we looked at some of the obvious challenges he will have going forward in the very divided United States that we live in. This unit is the first unit that our sophomores will get when they come back from summer vacation. The whole unit takes about a month, and it refreshes the main concepts and themes that they need to remember from last year, not only for the state test, but so they can have those fresh in their minds as we continue to learn about history. So this would be the very first thing that we would do inside of that refresher unit. And this is called Analyzing America's Founding Documents. And it simply just looks at the founding documents of America, the Declaration of Independence, the Articles of Confederation, the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, the anti-federalist federalist debate. And since it's a refresher unit, you can really provide kids with an engine for them to really steer their own learning, because a lot of this, again, should be refresher. So I have a nice quote there from Confucius. A lot of the things we hear as history teachers from students is that, well, I don't need to know about the past. It's just a bunch of times and dates and people, and I don't need to know that. And so we really take care to provide students not only knowledge about the past, but to really frame it for them so they can see how the past still impacts our future today. And then, of course, I put Uncle Sam, because what great history website would be complete without Uncle Sam? Up here on my tabs, I'm not going to go into the intro tab. That just gives a little background information. But I do want to obviously head into the lessons and assessments. So I decided to put these two together instead of making a separate tab. There are 4 lessons here that I did. So this is basically a week. And then I put an assessment down there at the bottom as well, so you have everything that you would need for that first week. If you just look on one of these lessons, I made all of these web pages, so I published them to the web, so you don't need to be logged into Google Docs or anything like that. You could just simply click on these and it would take you right to that web page. And so this is a typical lesson that I would use for that day. It shows you the connection to standards, and then it shows you all the instructional activities that we have. Breaks it down by activity. It shows you everything that we would do, and then also I linked any documents that we would use. So that particular lesson, they take iPads and they have QR code scanners that launch them to a brief reading about each of these philosophers, and they go about filling these in as kind of a review. And then at the end, we have an assessment. We call it extension. It's basically a homework activity, and we use Edmodo for that, which I will show you when we get over to the link in tech resources. So that is basically an overview of these lessons right here. Again, all of this stuff is put on web pages, so if you would click it, it would take you right there. This is like a brief look at like notes that they would give as an intro that they would have to fill out. Again, here you see using the iPads. It's all broken down. They go on a website here that takes them through a constitutional convention simulation that I've used in the past. And so it is all provided for you right here. When you get down to the assessment that we use has 2 parts. So there's a paper component, which you can see right here. Again, it's all been provided for you. It takes them through what they need to complete. And there's also an online component. So there's a activities page that we found in the past that gives you these 10 Bill of Rights scenarios. And so the students read each scenario and they have to not only tell me what amendment is being used, but what right is being violated in the scenario. And since the goal is not memorization or guessing on the amendments, I really like that this site has the amendments over here that you can then reference. So if I read the first scenario and I think that, you know, it might be Amendment 3, which it is, I can come over here and click on Amendment 3, and it kind of walks me through what that amendment does. Provides a link back to the scenario page, so you can go right back. So students can constantly reference the amendments, which really gives them, you know, familiarity with the concepts, which is what we want. We don't want them guessing. We want them to be able to say, "Ooh, I think that sounds like the Third Amendment." Look at the Third Amendment and then kind of match it up from there. So that's a breakdown of the lessons and assessments in that section. And then for tech resources, I kind of broke it down as each one. So in lesson 1, we start on the smartboard, then we go to the iPads and the QR scanner. There's a YouTube video that they watch before they go for homework, and I've put that embedded over here on the right. And then they use the Edmodo app. So I've linked this to my homepage. This is basically what it would look like for students. It looks very much like Facebook, which gives them a comfort level with the material. And I can click on the assignment. I can send it to whatever class I want. Each kid has a unique login that they go to. So you see this is my Global US 1 class. See, we did this on progressivism using the reading that you picked up in class. It's a very useful site, and you can shut it off at a certain time, so that way kids have to get it in before time is up. It does have some shortcomings, but it is a very useful site that I've used a lot in the past. So that is Edmodo. I also use the Class Marker quiz app, and again, I can't get in it without, there I can, I lied. This is an app, it's kind of like an entrance slip that I did, kind of testing where their knowledge is at from the previous year. Not only is this a way to use technology in the classroom, but also records stats for you, which is really helpful, kind of seeing where your students are at in terms of what they remember from the previous year. Yes, I believe. And this is the link to the conventional simulation. Sorry about that. My dog kind of saw someone on the street went a little crazy. So this is the link to the Constitutional Convention simulation that I was telling you about. Kind of has the kids pick a state to represent, and they go through that through the Constitutional Convention, and they have to fill out the chart that I showed you on the other on the Lessons Assessments tab. Again, video right here, again using Edmodo. Lesson 4, the Bill of Rights. Each kid kind of breaks down one of the amendments that they are presented, and then they have to present it. They each get an amendment that they have to break down and present to the class. And this is the rubric that we use. I use Rubistar for this. I've used it before a bunch in my class. It just helps the kids frame what they need to turn in, what I'm looking for, etc. This also uses current Supreme Court cases. So any kid, I give them the cases. Again, it's all explained in the Lessons tab. But they come on here and get kind of shorthand information on the quizzes. And we always encourage, on the cases. And we always encourage them to use other sites besides the ones that I give them. And then finally here on the end, we have the peer review site, which is where you guys are at. Link will take you to the peer review survey. Really the biggest question I really have is I just don't, the lessons and assessment, I put them together. Is it easier if I put them separate? I kind of like the way I have it set up because I think it flows really well, but that's obviously where you guys will hopefully help me out. I use Google, a lot of stuff with Google with this. Google Sites, Google Docs, Google Slides, Google Forms for the peer review. Very helpful, so that would be my recommendation, I guess, going forward. Any questions, feel free to let me know, and I look forward to hearing from you guys. Thanks.